I'm continuing with the thought of iteration, but I also just want to touch on briefly that if we do all this correctly, and we actually ground this system, right? Because we can, if we spend too much time in the meta and not enough time on the ground, things fly away, right? So we've got to spend time on the ground, and we've got to spend meta time. This is spending meta time, being granular and being grounded, not being like, oh, it would be so wonderful if this thing flew across the sky. No, we've got to stay grounded and really look at, we got to get this, we got to get this so specific and so tied in and so locked in that it's boring. And we need it to get so boring that it becomes fun. And what we're ultimately looking at, though, if all goes well, is a 2 hour process on day one, a 2 hour process day two, a 2 hour process day three, a 2 hour process day four, same 5, same 6, same 7, same 8, and then 9 and 10, a break from it all. But if we do this right, if we master this, well, let's look at it like this. If we become experts at this, I think we should be able to pull this off. 2 hours of make and bake. Sorry, let me be more accurate. 2 hours of make and bake and make and bake. 2 hours of make and bake and make and bake. 2 hours of take, and 2 hours of iterate. Now, what are we iterating? We're iterating the entire system. We're zooming out again, and we're looking at every meta aspect of the system. We're zooming in on each of those processes, and then getting granular about them and going, how can we make that a little better? How can we make, so we're looking at how can we improve each part of the process by 1%. So on iteration day, we actually look at on iteration day, we look at the make checklist and we look at each part of it and we go, how can I make that 1% better? Then we look at each part of the take process. How can I make that 1% better? Then we look at the rake process. How can I make that 1% better? And we look at the checklist itself. How can I make this checklist better? And it's interesting the way that these numbers are pulling off, right? Or coming off, because the number 8 is very common, and it's interesting in the sense that we're optimally in this expert realm. If we're spending 2, we're spending 8 hours in total. If my math is correct, 8 hours putting out 8 products. Now, how is it that each one is only taking, how is that math correct? How is that math right? If we're doing, oh, because we're doing, that's right, because we're doing make and bake and make and bake. Take, make and bake, take. So yeah, that makes sense. So we're putting out eight products, and it's an hour per product. Oh, that's why, because we have 2 make and bake days. Make and bake, make and bake, make and bake, make and bake, take, 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 take. So we're essentially over the course of, is that right? No, the math is off, I think. Over the course of 10 days, it's 2 2. Yeah, that's where it makes more sense. 2 2 2. Yeah, 2 2 2 and 2 2 2. Yeah, that's more accurate. Over the course of 12 hours, we're spending essentially 12 hours putting out 8 products. So it's taking about an hour and a half per product, which means that each product is essentially getting a half an hour for making, and half an hour for baking, and a half an hour for taking, if we're at the expert level. And the 4 additional hours is going toward iterating this whole process and making it even more efficient and whatnot. So let's look at the master level. If we were just looking at the expert level, let's look at the master level for a second. So what could we imagine? How would the master approach this? And how different would the master be from the expert in this process?